Anyone who has played multiple Mario Party games will surely have noticed that, just like basically every Mario game, it loves to bring back settings and themes. Similar locales and settings return in basically every Mario Party game, which then of course brings up the question, what are the most common Mario Party board themes? I don't mean themes as in music, by the way, I mean the theme of the board, the setting, the stage dressing, the theme. Before we start, a couple of key rules. Most importantly, every board can only count for one category. For like 95% of them, their theme is clear and obvious, while for a rare few I had to make a decision, but I don't think any of those are too controversial, fortunately. It is important to note, however, that when I previously did this same thing for Mario Kart and mainline Super Mario courses, I only counted every individual level once, so if a course returned, I didn't count it again. But today I am not doing that. Returning boards count this time around. The reason for that being that because Mario Party games have significantly less boards than say Mario Kart has courses, a returning board still has the same weight as a new board does, I would say. There are several games that lean entirely on returning boards, and I think it still shows what themes Nintendo drifts towards the most. They still had to choose which boards would return after all. That said, I will only count boards that have a clear theme and are focused on multiplayer, meaning that for example Mario Party 3's dual boards, Mario Party 6's solo boards, and Mario Party 10's amiibo boards do not count. I did however count Mario Party Star Rush and its bizarre Toad Scramble boards, but here I instead counted the Worlds, which consist of multiple small boards that together I think bring enough of a theme to compete with a regular board. Games that aren't being considered simply because they lack comparable boards are Mario Party E, Mario Party Advance, and Mario Party The Top 100. And this probably goes without saying, but Jamboree only counts once, not twice, even though it technically has two versions, one for Switch 1 and one for Switch 2. With that all said, let's get started with the two least seen thematic categories, because for once, due to the smaller number of total boards, we can actually cover every single board in Mario Party within this list, with the smallest two categories ending up at 2 boards each. The first of these is one that I decided to arrange like this, but you could also definitely do it in another way, which are boards revolving around vehicles, which include Shy Guy Perplex Express from Mario Party 8, which is entirely set inside a moving train, as well as Roll'em Raceway from Jamboree, set at a racetrack. If you were so inclined, you could move either of these to another category that is coming up soon, but I think that in order to keep those categories a bit cleaner, I had to separate them, which means they end up at the bottom here. The theme they draw with, though, is much more interesting in my opinion, because there is no denying this is its own category, and one that you would probably expect to see much higher. It's ice and snow themed boards. A mainline Mario staple and also often seen in all kinds of spin-offs, for some reason this one never managed to find its footing in Mario Party. Chilly Waters from Mario Party 3 and Snowflake Lake from 6 are the only boards we've ever had that are set in a winter wonderland, and they're actually quite similar too, which means that, depending on how strict you take this, there has only ever been one Mario Party board set in a snowland. That is insane compared to how often it appears in other Mario games, and it is a big outlier, one that I can't really explain either. Maybe there's a certain sentiment that frozen lands don't suit Mario Party's upbeat character? I don't know, it's inexplicable to me, but the numbers don't lie. Moving up one spot, we find every board theme with 3 appearances across the series, and that is once again a tie. One of these two is actually a very new kind of theme. Grasslands, which made its first appearance with Toad Road in Mario Party 9, meaning that all 3 Grassland boards hail from the ND Cube era. And when you think about the design changes that were made during their time in charge of the series, I think that makes sense. Starting around the 2010s, the Mario series became much more streamlined as a result of the success of the new Super Mario Bros. Series, leading to a much more standard Mario world. Suddenly, Grasslands as a theme became the first world in basically every Mario game, and it was only a matter of time before that would start to influence spin-offs like Mario Party 2. Perilous Palace Path from Island Tour and World Zero from Star Rush, both released during this era as well, would follow in Toad Road's footsteps, but we haven't seen a Grassland board since. The theme it's tied with, though, is from all ages. Water maps, specifically underwater maps. That means Deep Bloober Sea from Mario Party 3, a board so old it's still called a blooper a bloober. Undersea Dream from Mario Party 5, giving it some GameCube representation, as well as Whimsical Waters from 10, earning it a board in the Blend era too. Considering the current Switch era can be considered another new age, the renaissance of Mario Party if you will, we're due a new underwater board. We go another step up then for, you guessed it, another draw. 2 categories with 4 boards each. Although, one of them is only in this tier because of the repeated rule, and that is the food theme. Peach's birthday cake hails from the original Mario Party, but then returned with a modern coat of paint in Superstars for Switch, earning it 2 points for the exact same board. Add the Sweet Dream from 5 and World Freed from Star Rush, and you get to 4 in total. Enough for it to draw the desert theme, which similarly has 1 board providing 2 points, because just like the birthday cake, Western Land has also appeared in 2 Mario Party games, being 2 and Jamboree. The other points come from Spiny Desert from 3 and Pyramid Park from 7, meaning we haven't had a new desert-themed board since the GameCube. That's pretty surprising. Just like the ice theme, deserts are a Mario staple, one of the core world themes in the mainline games that have only really appeared in the older Mario parties, which is even weirder when you consider that the new Super Mario Bros. Games especially made desert worlds super common, yet none of those party games from the era feature it at all. When we go up another rank, we find the first Soul theme that doesn't have to share its standing with anything else. But I will concede it is a bit of a dubious category, the one that sparked the most internal debate for me as to what boards exactly fall under this. It's infrastructure, so cities, towns and settlements, and I took that a little strict. The fact that the board is a town or city had to be the #1 most important aspect. Pyramid Park, for example, is also a settlement, but I think the desert theme is stronger than the infrastructure one. It's a close call, but someone has to make it. Since the Mario series has never really focused too much on cities and towns in the mainline games, it took a while for a board with this theme to hit the scene, with Fair Square in Mario Party 6 being the first. Afterwards though, it started increasing its number big time, as this is one of the few themes that has multiple boards from one game, being Mario Party 7. If you were trying to balloon this theme's numbers, you could do even more, but I only included Windmillville and Neon Heights, all from Mario Party 7. But after the GameCube, it seems like Nintendo had had enough. In all the games afterwards, only Kamek's Tantalizing Tower from Super Mario Party qualifies for this category, making it end on 5 boards total. We go up another tier, and I think you can really call this a tier, because this is a massive tie. A total of 4 different themes, all have exactly 6 boards to call their own. Let's start with a pretty simple one, sky-themed boards. All of these take place high above the clouds, literally, because every single one of these boards features clouds as the background. 2 of the 6 points here are once again a returning board, being Mario's Rainbow Castle, and castles and structures in general are a popular reason for us to be above the skyline. You've got Clockwork Castle from 6 doing the same thing, the Rainbow Dream from 5 is a sort of small town, and Airship Central from 10 may not be a settlement, but it's surely man-made or Koopa-made with all the airships flying around. The only one of the 6 where you can really walk on clouds is Starcross Skyway from Island Tour. That sounds more like a space-themed map based on the name, but it certainly isn't. And yes, this is a segue into the space-themed boards, which also finish on 6. Noteworthy here is how short the names of these boards are. This high up on the list, all themes have at least 1 board with more than 2 words in their name, so 3 words. Except for the space-themed boards, which, just to give you the full idea, includes Eternal Star, Spaceland twice, Future Dream, Rocket Road, and the noteworthy Bowser Station, which is one of only 2 Bowser boards that does not end up in a category much closer to the top. A more contentious category, I must admit, is the indoor category. This includes every man-made structure map that is set inside some sort of house or a building that doesn't really feel publicly available. The oldest example is from the first Mario Party, Luigi's Engine Room, and then it earned another in 6 with EGAD's Garage, before really racking up its count with Mario Party DS. Here there are 2 indoor boards, Toadette's Music Room and Kamek's Library, making this another theme that has 2 boards in the same game. Then add Bob-omb Factory and Kamek's Carpet Ride, which admittedly is outside for a bit, but the key focus of the board is the mansion, so I think it should count, and then you end up at 6 as well. But like I said, there is still one more theme that also has this number. Next in line, landforms or geological formations. Think valleys, mountains, canyons, caves, anything that has to do with geology like that. This is quite a broad category, I admit, but it includes boards that I do think have similar vibes. And they truly draw from the entire series. From the oldest, Wario's Battle Canyon, to maps from the Bland era like Banzai Bill's Mad Mountain and King Bob-omb's Power Keg Mine, there is quite some spread here. There's also Pagoda's Peak from Mario Party 7, Creepy Cavern from 3, and I also counted Pirate Dream from 5 here, because while it combines various elements, I do think the cliffside structure of it is the most important element. But if you think that is contentious, meet one of the two categories of the next rank, both of which have 7 total boards. My Amusement category. It is the flimsiest theme, in my opinion, but I noticed there were quite some boards that feature locations and settings that are designed around real-life forms of entertainment and amusement that all felt similar in vibe, so I believed I had to combine them rather than separate them all. Included here are 2 theme parks, being Force Toad Midway Madness and Tense Mushroom Park, gambling themed boards with Goomba's Greedy Gala, also from 4, and Shy Guy Shuffle City from Island Tour, Toy Dream from Mario Party 5, which is like a playground of sorts, the mall that is Rainbow Galleria from Jamboree, which is definitely a candidate for indoor or even infrastructure as well, but I think Amusement is a better fit for it, and finally Bowser's Pinball Machine, another Bowser themed board that isn't what you would think it is. So yeah, I hope you can see why I categorized these together. I personally think they fit well together, but it's the least obvious theme and it's certainly born from my desire to not have a bunch of small one-off boards. But hey, if you disagree, every single board is mentioned in this video, so you know exactly how the rankings would change depending on what you feel is correct. But like I said, Amusement is actually at a draw, because the spooky theme also has 7 boards in total. 2 of those are Horrorland, which has also returned on the Switch, the rest are all based on Haunted Mansions and the like. Boo's Haunted Bash, King Boo's Haunted Hideaway, Boo's Horror Castle. There are a lot of Boos here. Add in Haunted Trail from 10 and World 2 from Star Rush and you end up with a total of 7. Pretty obvious and easy category this is, I think. Which then brings us to the podium, the top 3. The bronze medal is gonna go to a theme I already partly referred to a couple times. Lava, which has a total of 11 different boards, a big gap from the 2 stuck on 7. Of course, this category is hard carried by Bowser and his many fiery maps. I'm not gonna name every single one, 11 is a bit too much for that, especially since, impressively, Lava has 0 repeats. In total, 10 of the 11 boards are Bowser boards, from the original Bowser's Magma Mountain to the latest Bowser's Peculiar Peak from Island Tour, which also immediately highlights the Switch has actually not had a single Bowser board across its 3 games, which is probably the reason why it's in 3rd rather than top 2, despite being super prevalent prior to the Switch. Now, of course, you're wondering what the one lava map is that isn't Bowser themed. Well, the answer is Magma Mine from Mario Party 9. Bowser's map in this game is Bowser Station, which is a space-themed board. And that then brings us to the top 2, and it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone who has paid attention, this is another tie. But I think we do have a fitting tiebreaker, because one of the most contentious boards in the entire series I counted for one of our winners, when you could just as easily have counted it for another category. That board is the Grand Canal from Mario Party 7. This is a tropical town, and it's right there in the word already. You could count this as a town, so for infrastructure, but I counted it as tropical, and that puts the tropical theme at 12 total boards, the shared most. My reasoning was that since every board in Mario Party 7 is partly city and town based, I had to cut it off somewhere, but you could argue they should maybe share this board and get half a point each, at which point tropical would be solely in 2nd place. The vast majority of the boards in this category deal with the beach. Mario Party loves beaches. You've got Yoshi's Tropical Island not once but twice, Mega Fruit Paradise, which is rather similar, and while Pirate Dream may have been a mountain, Pirate Land is definitely tropical, and boards like Goomba Boardwalk and Koopa Seaside Soiree leave little up to ambiguity. Unlike the lava theme, tropical boards are everywhere, from the N64 to the Switch, with Goomba Lagoon and even a whirl in Star Rush, they're inevitable. And I think that is especially interesting contrast with the Icelands, which were very uncommon. One is hot, one is cold, and Mario Party clearly prefers warmer settings over colder ones. That much is proven by this top 3. And the nail in the coffin for that is the winner. With also 12 boards, but no ifs, ands or buts about it, our one true winner is Forests, Woods and Jungles. Bowser may hard carry Lava, but Donkey Kong is doing quite some heavy lifting here as well, with a third of these boards revolving around him, like DK Jungle Adventure or DK Treetop Temple from Mario Party 8. But it isn't all jungles, you've got quite some temporal forests as well, like Mario Party 6's Towering Treetop, Mega Wiggler's Tree Party from Jamboree, and the 2-time appearing Woody Woods. However, since there are a total of 16 Mario Party games a theme could obtain points from, that does mean 4 Mario Party games do not feature a forest-based board at all. Those are Mario Party 5, which I guess doesn't need it to feel exotic, Mario Party 7, which goes all in on towns and cities, as well as Island Tour and Star Rush, which instead have a Grassland board for their obligatory greenery. While the differences are small at the top, I mean it technically was a draw even, I do suspect that Forest will continue to stay at the top for games to come. All 3 Nintendo Switch games have a forest theme map, so the signs are there, and since none of them are a jungle, there is even room to shake things up compared to the past 3 games. But time will tell. But yeah, that has been every single Mario Party board, no lone stragglers at the bottom this time, so no honorable mentions either. I'm curious though, did you expect to see this winner? Share it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. And if you're also interested in either the Pokemon or Fire Emblem series, you may want to check out my other channels, Piantapedia and Nagapedia. Links are in the description. For now, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.